Hi guys, we will be talking about your third individual assignment, the communications plan. You can see here I've provided the Dropbox, the rubric, and the communications plan template here. It is the cornerstone of implementation for any project or program. It is essential to understand what messages you are intending to convey, who your audience is, and how they will best receive the information. At this point, we have reviewed communications within projects, and you know that unplanned communications will almost always arise in any project. However, when you do plan communications, it can mitigate some of the problems that do arise during a project. So please make sure we are going to practice, obviously, planned communications. I do this every single semester with students. I actually plan my communications with classes so that it sets, so that when I am planning, right, and then during the implementation phase of the courses, students are receiving the messages that I intend for them to receive. So planned communications are utilized in every project. They are something that you can help, that will absolutely help any risks to those critical success factors. So of course, those are what we always go back to in terms of thinking, is our project a success or not, right? Our schedule, our scope, our budget, the quality of our project, right? If we are communicating, that is going to highlight quality within our project. You can see here, it should be submitted in a table format. I've provided that template right here. It's not an extensive template, but it will show you what I'm looking for. If you want to make it a little bit fancier, go for it. I am all about creativity in students. You are going to include a total of 8 weeks at least of planned communications, and you are going to make sure that you have all of the phases listed. As we've been talking about, we have used our planning phase, our implementation phase, which is the day of the actual 5K, and then you'll have the post-implementation evaluation phase. So you need to make sure that you have all of the phases within the planned communications. You are going to, the amount of time spent on each phase is different for every project. Some students may have 6 weeks of planning, 1 week of implementation, and 1 week of follow-up. You can see here that these are examples. You will have a lot of time probably in your planning phase, and then you are going to have, that week's worth, maybe just 1 week of implementation. So you could have your 5K on a Saturday, and you will be communicating the week leading up to the implementation, and of course, then the very next week you'll have your follow-up post-implementation evaluation communications. So make sure you are including all of these phases. You will also need to make sure you use 3 forms of communication per week. You will need to have a variety of communications such as email, conference call, face-to-face interactions, video conferencing, meetings, etc. Keep in mind that you can utilize social media as well. You will need a form of communication, and every single type of communication will require a separate row in the chart. This means you will have at least 24 rows of communications. Okay, so you need to have at least 3 forms of communications per week, and you need to have at least 8 weeks of planned communications for the phases listed. You'll need to make sure you are including all of the phases listed so I can see sample planned communications for each phase. So this will really help you wear the hat of a project manager, thinking through all of the things that should be communicated within your project. Yes, you have discussed all the work, and you can look at that and see what would need to be communicated, right? If we gave the example of marketing in the last time when we talked about social media, if you were creating a social media post, would you need to have it approved by someone? Would you need to send a sample of your social media plan to have it approved by someone else within the company or within the philanthropy? So make sure you are thinking through all of the things that should be communicated for your project, for your 5K to get off the ground. You can see here that you will need to make sure that each of these subheadings are included in your chart. The date the item is to be sent. This should be a real world date, a real time date. The purpose of the communication item, which usually this is like one or two words, and then the key messages are providing more details. So the key messages to be conveyed, the sender, who is sending the message, who is receiving the message, the method or type of communication, and if is follow-up needed. This is a simple yes or no in the follow-up column. So make sure you think through this and that you spend some time on this communications plan. And that you don't look at this the night before. I hope everyone is doing well, and at this point, you will have completed your 3 individual assignments, and then you will be taking these into your group to discuss and create an even bigger project, which is the implementation guide. I hope you have a great week, and please email me with questions after you have utilized all your resources. Have a great day.